Hi, I'm Derek Deese, Executive Director of Man to Man Fatherhood Initiative. We are one of the programs of the South Carolina Center for Father and Family, where our goal is to provide the means for men to be better fathers. We're going to go into this session to talk about men or fathers as a provider. As fathers, our goal is to provide more than just for our children financially, but it's the economic, social, psychological, and spiritual provisions. So join us this session as we talk about fathers as provider. Feel free to share it with someone, because as men come together, we really have some deep conversations that's really going to get into some stuff, some real life application. So it's not just lecture, it's not lecture, but it's really getting to the nuts and bolts of what it is to be a provider. Join us as we go in. Good morning. Greetings from Man to Man Fatherhood Initiative. We just want to come, and we realize that everyone is in social isolation right now, So we want to bring this session to you to help support men, fathers and families, how you can still be the best dad you can be in the life of your family. And so we realize that we're on the component talking about being a good provider. And as a provider, what is required of us, or what do we understand in being a provider, and what does a provider look like? So we're just going to open up the conversation right now. And just, we realize there's many stereotypes in what a provider is. Sometimes if you're raised without a father, you haven't seen what a provider looks like. And so oftentimes we have different myths and different hypotheses of what a provider is. Some people feel like as long as I'm paying my child support, that's a provider. Or as long as I take my kid to get a haircut, or take to, what is a provider? And because there's so many different scenarios that we, sort of guess about what a provider is. And when a child is born, we're not like giving a manual saying, hey, this is what a provider is, this is what you're supposed to do. So fellas, let's kind of get into that. What would we say our definition of being a provider is? What does that look like? What does a provider is?
I think, to me, being a provider is being able to take care of essential needs of the child. Not so much as monetary, but time. Because, study shows when we are involved, the child grows up to be successful and healthy. And so I think about those things, and I do an assessment of myself over a period of time with my sons, and was I the best provider that I could have been? And, I did well, but I could have done better. And so I utilize, those experiences to, help our fathers to be better. So.
Cool.
I think for me it's more so also being there, like Craig said, but providing those lessons in life in terms of, if you have sons, how to be a man. If you have a daughter, how is a man supposed to treat you? My biggest thing is always being visible. Let my daughters know that if they need me, they can call me. They have access to me at any time. So no matter what is going on in their lives, I'm there for them. So
cool.
That's one dynamic for me.
And also, being a provider is being accountable.
Yeah.
Being accountable, what does that mean? How does that look? Being true to what you're supposed to do as a provider. Some people talk about it, but are you going to be about it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and then you're dealing with different era now. Back in the days, you had people who were accountable. As opposed to now, people get offended if you try to hold them accountable, not understanding the importance.
That's true. That's
true.
True.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think accountability is important.
Right. It's true.
In raising children.
That's true.
I'm older now. I'm an old man. I hadn't always had the answers. But and my son's mother, she always told me stuff. You need to do this, you need to do that. And when I look back, I see how important that is. Given our current climate right now, I have an iPhone, and what I do now is I call my sons FaceTime.
Okay.
And
so there's technology that can help you.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So There's so many ways, man, that you could, you know, be there. Time. Even though my children are older, Justin is in Atlanta, Kaneas and Malika are home, but we find ways of still communicating. I can't tell you I've been the best, but I do what I can do.
So let me ask you a question there, because you said something. So when people hear the word provider, first thing comes to their mind is economic.
Money. Yeah.
So now sounds like you're saying more of an emotional provider.
And what I learned is children really don't care about the money. They want you. They want your time.
Yeah.
And if I could go back and do some stuff differently, I would. I would spend more time with my son.
More time.
Because we're creating a framework of what they're looking for.
Yeah.
We're creating the model for our children to be successful.
Gotcha. And
right?
we replicate ourselves, because if you, for example, my youngest son is 7, and sometimes I find myself saying things to him that my dad said to me. And the home is a microcosm of how they're going to see life and how they're going to do life. So really, you raise them how you want them to raise their sons and daughters. For example, I mean, you can, and that's, I'm thinking about the emotional provision. If my dad, you know, let's say he was the type of person that, hey son, how you doing? You know, how was your day to day? Or don't be going to that neighborhood. You know, stay away from that. That's providing protection, guidance, and the emotional. Sometimes it's just the small things you do, creating those memories. And I think, and I like what you said, because when you provide for the psychological or the psychosocial side of a child, it really impacts how they do life. You know, if you because you can be an absent father and still in the home.
Yeah, right. It's about relationship building.
Yeah,
you know, and I've seen some fathers who do not know how to talk to their children, and they live with the kids.
Wow.
You know, so, and like I say, you know, I have the best mother to my children, because she holds me accountable. I can't tell you I always do everything right, but I try to do the best that I can. And you know, I'm always trying to extend to my kids. The iPhone here is my friend, and you know, I try to stay in touch with them.
Let me ask y'all a question now. Do you think that we rely too much on the mother of the children to provide the nurturing side?
Absolutely.
Why you say that?
You know, as men, I don't think, because we're so used to being masculine. We gotta be tough. We gotta be strong. We gotta teach them to do a lot of the outside stuff. But you know, we need nurturing too. We have feelings and emotions just like women. And so our sons and our daughters, they need to see that from us.
Okay.
Because if they don't see it from us, they're going to go out there and get it, or try to get it from somewhere else.
Try to get it.
And so it's nothing wrong with us as being big, strong, tough men to be emotional, to be sentimental, to understand feelings and emotions, to hug. You know, one of the favorite things I love to do with my stepdaughters, I love to hug.
Hug.
You know, we're huggers. And so we have to show the emotional side as well as that tough and strong side. And it's a part of being a provider as well.
Gotcha.
Because if we don't provide it, I promise you they're going to go get it from somewhere else.
You know what? Growing up, I didn't grow up in the house with my father. But he called often. And between my mother, my siblings, my father was the only person that said, I love you. But not hearing it as much, man, it was hard for me to say to my children, to whoever I was in a relationship with, I love you, because
we have to have that model for us,
right?
right?
Have the model.
Yeah.
My grandfather, you know, he did stuff. You knew how he felt, but he never came out to say, I love you, son. But he had this affectionate name for me. He would call me Thread. Anytime he called me Thread, I knew, okay, I either done something good. He was going to put a little change in my pocket. It was Craig or Thread.
And it was almost like affirmation.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and I would do certain things with my sons. I think maybe I just got to the point a few years ago that I said to my sons, I love them. I always did stuff to try to show them. But
Let's park there right there. There's some good material there. Sometimes I think as men, we are action oriented. So we like to demonstrate how we feel rather than saying how we feel, because we kind of been orientated. Men don't cry, be strong, pick yourself up by your own bootstraps. Even though things can be killing us on the inside, we hold them in. And I think sometimes that goes to our detriment because we got daughters. The first person first man that your daughter should fall in love with is you.
Is a father, yeah.
They should understand, because sometimes if they don't get the love from us and understand what love's supposed to look like, they're going to search for it from people who basically are that to me think about themselves, that are selfish.
And you see that so many times. When I worked in the school system, I saw young ladies who came from broken homes, never had that father to show love. And so they get out here and they bounce from man to man to man because they're looking for what they never got from that father.
So now, how does that tie in? Now we realize that that is the emotional side. Then where does the financial? Because we realize that kids, they need our emotional support. They need the hug, and more than anything, they need the hug, and they need to, son, how you doing? Even if you are a non-custodial father, you're not even in a home, but like you said, picking up that phone and say, hey, James Jr. or Ronald or, little Pete, what's going on? How was your day? I'm going to try to make that game. Because think about that. Even that's emotional support. That child has a football game, basketball game, just being in the stands. Being present. Seeing dad cheer just as loud as anything. That provides some sort of feeling of security to that child. So that's emotional support. So how does that, now, go ahead.
And I was going to speak on that too. A couple of days ago, this guy that I know in my community, he got, furloughed or laid off from his job. And so he's not with the mother of his children. But he came out of my house. He's riding with his current wife, driving an old beat up car. And in the back of their car, he had his push lawnmower and his gas can. And he was asking people in the community, hey, can I cut your grass? And for those, for anybody who would let them cut their grass, he would call his son on the phone and say, hey, son, come over here. I'm over here. His son, 11 years old, his mother would bring him over, and him and his dad would cut the grass with the push mower.
Wow.
And I'm like, and so I asked him, I said, I don't see many fathers doing that. Wow. He said, well, listen, this is a perfect time for me and my son to spend time together while we're social distancing, and I still got to provide for my family. So, I had a job. Wow. I'm not there. So what am I supposed to do? Sit home and not do nothing? He said, no, I got to provide for my family. So we're going to cut this grass. I don't care how hot, it's raining, snowing, it don't matter. I got to provide for the family. And there's his son, 11 years old, pushing the mower right there with dad.
That's teaching your child how to be an entrepreneur.
There you go.
It is very important to spend quality time with your children. And we're going to show and demonstrate some things you can do with your children while you're at home with them. How you can just take a football or a soccer ball and go outside and just kick the ball around and play with your kids. We're going to have some demonstration of that. But also it's very important for you to spend leisure time in the educational department of your children. It makes children feel so valued for a father to sit down and read books to your children, to talk to them and let them know that you are interested in them. So spending time with your children is very powerful. Join us as we go through these sessions to talk about spending time with your children, but also to demonstrate what that looks like. And it's amazing because we take so much with us that we see demonstrated. I remember you took my mind when you were talking. It took my mind when my dad, when I was young, and I remember my dad, he was working in a plant, Galen Lord at the time, but he used to try to do side business. So he would have somebody call him that they needed to do lay some bricks or some stones. We'd get us up 5 o'clock in the morning, like, oh man, 5 o'clock in the morning, y'all go on with me. We'd get up. He taught us how to mix mortar, how to shuffle the sand, and how to take the cement and I say bust the bag open because like we did,
bust the bag open,
and put the. But that taught me work ethics, and he used to always say, "Son, if your wife never works, it's still your responsibility to provide for the household. Everything still falls on you." And then he would say, "Set your budget on your money, because let's say if she gets pregnant, can't work, you won't be you won't be over your head in bills."
Wouldn't that start with the mindset?
The mindset, it would.
Gotta change that mindset.
Got to change that mindset.
Yeah.
You know, most days after work, I go home, take me a nap, and then I go running. And one day I was just listening to something and saying, "There's no business as usual." You know, if you're a person that's not used to budgeting, saving, there's a new normal now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to get used to doing things that you're not used to doing. Saving, because you got to still remember, you still got family to take care of. You still got child support to take care of. So what do you do moving forward? Because this could happen again.
Gotcha.
This could happen again. So what's no more business as usual, meaning doing things different.
Gotcha.
You know, as a provider, you still got to make a way.
Gotcha. And let's partner for a minute, because now we're getting more into the economic providing. Why is it important? Because sometimes men feel as though, like, hey, you know, the child lives with the grandma, child lives with the mother's making good enough money, she makes more than I do, you know, why should I have to really contribute financially if the child is doing well? Because that happens. You have, let's say you have the mother of the child, she's an RN, right? And so she's making pretty good. You have a guy that's, you know, he just got a job, you know, and he's making okay, but the mother makes, let's say, twice as more than he do. And that goes back to mindset. And that guy may feel like, oh, child's doing good. Why should I contribute? And what do you say?
I say,
well, one thing about it is, and you know, like me and my daughter, we live in 2 different cities, and her mother does well, great household. But for me, it's still a matter of doing my part.
Doing your part, okay.
Because even though, you know, you might know that somebody else is doing okay for themselves, you don't know their struggles. You know, okay, well, they got a great job, still might have student loans, a higher house payment, but it's still your part to balance out the life of that child. And, you know, being there also, you know, as Craig alluded earlier, making sure you spend time or you have valuable input, being great co-parents. But as a man, it's just still your responsibility to do your part. No matter whether your part is small, big, however. You know, even in our...
Leave your financial footprint somewhere.
I mean, even in our court system as far as child support goes, you know, you're responsible for your child support plus half of medical bills. You know, you may have a child that has medical issues. The brunt of that financial burden should not be left on one person.
I like that.
And I'll put it like this. I remember in high school I played football, right? And we have a very successful high school as far as football. And one of the things that we're infamous on is everybody do their part.
Do their part.
You do your job. Don't worry about what everybody. You do your part.
Gotcha.
And so that I just grew up with that. Like, you do your part. This is your responsibility. Nobody made you do it. Nobody asked you to bring this child here. It's your responsibility. You take care of your child. You raise your child. And if you got some other help along the way, that's great, amazing. Yeah. But you still do your part.
Do your part.
But again, that goes back to the mindset. You know, how do you encourage? How do you stimulate that type of thinking?
Gotcha.
To people understanding, you know, because sometimes you have to give stuff up, and in this case, you have to give your pride up.
Wow.
What's best for the family unit?
Let me ask you something. You said something. Your pride. Do you think sometimes as men that, let's say it was a rough breakup, because sometimes we let our emotions get in the way of really focusing on that child.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes, let's be honest, it's hard sometimes to see somebody doing better without you.
It is.
You know, like, okay, when she was with me, this is where it was. But now she's moved on. She's an RN.
I want to see you do good, just not better than me.
Just better than me. And now she's taking care of the child, and you know, and now you want to contribute. You said mindset and pride. I mean, is that how real is that? How real is that?
Forgive quickly though. Like we have to forgive quickly.
Okay.
You know, because if you carry that in your heart, it's gonna become an infection. And then you think you're getting back at her, but you're really getting at your child.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so as men, we have to forgive quickly. You know, nobody's perfect. So we can't walk around the mindset, well, I'm perfect. So if we broke up, it's your fault because I'm perfect. You know, you have to accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
Forgive quickly because you have a child or children that you are responsible for.
Do you think sometimes we try to teach a lesson and really falling back on that child?
Absolutely.
I'm going to teach her a lesson. I'm going to show her that she's not getting any of my money. Right. She's getting her nails done. She's getting her hair done. Why should I be paying my money?
When I first started this job, I remember going to court, and this young lady was taking care of 3 kids that she had from this guy. And to punish her, he decided I'll fall behind in child support. And we're thinking, okay, well, you're hurting the children. He didn't care as long as he hurt the mother.
Wow.
That mindset. It's not about you.
Wow.
It's about the children.
Yeah.
So,
and don't you think it's bad that the last thing you want to see is your child even have the thought process that dad never chipped in toward my life? Because where a man's heart is, that's where his treasure is. You put money in what you believe in. You put money and support to what you embrace and love. And the last thing your child should be able to see is daddy bought some 24s for his car.
Right.
Or dad was fresh to death and he wore Jordans all the time. But I struggled. You know, or even if mom had the money and she provided, but where's dad contribution? You know, because you want to spend time, but you also need to put your money towards what you love and what you embrace. And if it's not even the amount, really, your child should be able to see your financial footprint. He should be able to trace and say, you know what? Dad may have not lived in the home, but dad made sure I had.
You know, I think that one thing with that goes to being good co-parent. I mean, you have the breakup, and in a lot of situations, as Craig alluded, like when we go to court, you see the tit for tat. You know, if you don't let me see my child, I'm not paying child support.
Yeah.
Or
not understand that they're 2 separate things.
2 separate things.
Or you know, you may have this guy that's chipping in, but the money is being misused not towards the child, more so towards the mother. So some guys resent that. So then it becomes, well, I see you with your hair done. My daughter's looking this way. I'm not going to contribute to that. So then there's that back and forth rift. But then, like you say, if y'all come to a common understanding of what this child needs, what this child is into, because you have kids that are into extracurricular activities. Like my daughter's into dance.
And that costs.
And dance calls. Competition dance calls. And one thing, like with me and her mother, no matter what it is that my daughter has going on, we talk about it first, make an agreement. We're gonna participate. You know, she can go to dance. We're splitting this cost half and half.
Let me ask you something. I got to park there for a minute. What does that do to the mother when a father says, I want to see the child, has the means to provide, but won't? But then the mother gets upset. Well, you're not going to see my child because you don't contribute. Don't you think that that's some validation there? Sometimes women get upset, and rightfully so. If you can provide and you choose not to, but yet you said, I want to see the child. Because you need to have some hand in hand with that. What you say?
For those that don't, from guys that I've talked to, they feel disrespected.
Okay.
And like they want to be there. And like I say, you know, Craig alluded earlier, sometimes it's time. I may not have all the money, but I want to be there.
Gotcha.
Instilling values. Hey.
But if you have the money.
But then we've also seen guys, like you say, they have the money. They might show up to court, with the money in their pocket.
Yeah.
I've never understood that.
Selfish behavior.
But it's selfish behavior
behavior.
because, like you say, it goes back to the point of I'm going to try and punish her without the court punishing me. I already know.
Teach her a lesson.
We become so selfish in trying to punish, not concerned about the children, until it becomes about me.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
What do I get out of the deal?
Gotcha.
Not thinking about the child.
And I think that mentality is so selfish, and that's a lot. What's wrong with why 50% of people in America right now are single, because of that attitude right there. What am I getting out the deal?
Yeah.
You know what? Look what you already have.
So
These
your own
beautiful
emotions
children.
can interfere with you being a good provider
Absolutely.
because the emotional
Absolutely.
barriers.
Because your mindset ain't straight.
So we need to check our ego at the door when it comes down to our kids.
It's getting
It's
past.
hard to do. Check your own ego.
It's getting past the relationship. Like a lot of times, like you say, breakups, or if you wasn't even in a relationship in the beginning, and here's the child. Some people may feel like, well, the child should bring us closer together, and it doesn't happen.
Wow.
So then now
Wow.
someone can say, well, if you don't want me, you don't want us.
A package deal.
Thank you. Say
Yeah. I mean, that's going forward into meeting the next person. But it's like, okay, you don't want me, you don't want us. I can be the worst boyfriend, I can be the worst husband, I can be the best dad.
That's true.
Or I can be the best husband, best boyfriend, and could be the worst dad. So those two things don't go hand in hand. My love for a woman and my love for a child is two different loves. So, but as a lot of men don't know how to separate the two.
Yeah, those agape love,
Right.
Philios love, and the Eros love. And that agape love is that I don't have to get anything out of it. I'm just going to love you just because of. Whereas that Philios love is more of the friend love, that you have for a person. And the Eros love is the romantic love. So you're right. I think we should love from an agape standpoint that it's not about what I can get is what I can give. If you enjoyed those sessions, feel free to give us a call. The number listed, and you have our website. Call us because we are ready to serve. We realize this, that building families is very important because family is the bedrock of society. When you build families, one family will affect a community. A community will affect the town. The town will affect the city, and the city will affect the nation. So we have to realize family embraces everything that we want to be. We want to be sustainable, we want to be secure, and we want to be strong. So help us build families one father at a time.